Hi, this is Winged. Okay, having the ability to see and understand everything in terms of human beings and dimensional beings, seeing them constantly, continuously, at any given moment, how I was able to experience this as myself in one singular moment. Well, one evening, again, we did this quite often, all of us would come together, some of us, most of us come together and share our experiences in this process, like just communicating about everything. And I was like actually completely new to everything. And we were sitting one evening, and I was sitting in front of Eagle, and I was sitting in front of him with cross-legged and our knees touched. And he says to me, "What do you see?" And he opened himself up like this. And he says, "What do you see?" And I closed my eyes and I looked inside him. And I said, "God." And to explain the experience, it was beyond infinity. It was beyond feelings, beyond experience. It was in that moment as though everything disappeared. Everything disappeared. And I just had this experience of God. Literally experiencing God as me. And Eagle said to me, "What do you see?" So I told him what I see. I told him that I saw, everything was purple, a purpley pink background. And I saw beds everywhere, just beds. Now this was when I was 19 years old, sitting in front of him, just beds everywhere, with this purple pink background like clouds, lots of beds. And there were male and females on these beds having sex, but in all different positions. Think of all the different positions of sex there is in the world, all of them. It's like the whole world was in male-female relationship, and everyone was having sex in different positions, but it was all physical. Like you could see the physical movement and the positions and everything. And then all of a sudden, everyone turned into these white orbs again, but the male and females were like on top of each other in some way or another. And then both transformed into white orbs, like moving like this. Not touching at all. Not penetrating like I'd seen them before, where the male and female were like penetrating in and having sex in all different positions. No. They transformed completely into white orbs, moving on top of each other but not touching. Now this happened to all the human beings that were on these beds, and all of a sudden everyone transformed into white orbs that were moving on top of each other. And I was standing, looking at everything, and I transformed into this, not an angel per se, but like I had this big cross here, like a crystal. It was a pink purple crystal cross here. And I started walking up, and when I started walking, everyone from the beds, as these white orbs, came down and followed me. And they followed me, and there was the sun, this big sun, and clouds, and it was beautiful, it was magnificent. So I just started walking, and everyone started following me, but we were walking together. And we walked through the sun. When we walked through the sun, there was this big golden chair, like a throne, waiting for us. Now the whole world, all of us together, were walking. And we all walked onto this throne together. And when we all were on this throne, this big golden throne, chair, wasn't like a throne, it was a big chair. But gold chair, thick. And it was like going through this circular entrance, and we all went through this circular entrance together, the whole world together on this big golden throne chair, and we moved through. And as we moved through, the gold then everything just became black and dark, but there was the gold chair and all of us that were white, these white orbs, equal and one in that expression. And then the golden chair and the white orbs came together as one and started amalgamating and molded into this one ball, all of us together. And then everything just exploded, like exploded, and everything just transformed into white and gold expression. And that's what I saw. And then I told the eagle that's what I was seeing. And he said, okay. And I explained to him everything. And when I opened my eyes after that, in that moment, I looked around and I said to him, wait a minute. Something wrong. Is something wrong with my eyes or something? Because I'm starting to, everything is white. Oh, he said to me, what do you see now? And then I looked and I opened my eyes and I saw everything was white. And I looked inside him, inside Eagle first. I looked at him and I said, I see you're white, but there's dark spots everywhere. And he said, okay, make them white, clean them out, make them all white, 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 white. And I just started making them all white, all the dark spots inside him that I was able to see. And I made them all white, 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 until he was completely white in expression and essence. And then he said, okay, now go to everyone else in the room and see where they have got dark spots inside them and clean them. You know, make them all white. They're just white expression in their essence, complete. I said, okay. And so, excuse me. And so I went to each and every one, excuse me, and I coloured them in, you know, made them white. Some I was able to assist, you know. There was a lady that was lying next to Bernard, Eagle, and, you know, I was assisting her with this dark spot on her chest area and communicating to her about it. But remember, all I was seeing is white and dark spots. But those dark spots I was able to see, understand, interpret, explain everything. And that's how I started assisting everyone and supporting everyone. And as I walked out of the billiard room, now this was quite fascinating because everything like disappeared. All I could see was white. Everything was white. I went, God, what is happening? Because I'm just seeing everything. Literally, this world was a picture. What was behind the picture was light, white, everything. I could still see form, you know, the human form, but the picture disappeared. You know, from behind the picture there was white, and then I could see the colors and the dark spots, understand them, interpret them, explain them, everything. And that happened in that one moment since I'd seen everything, or seen God, which means actually myself, and process, you know, actual process.